Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, it's a great Tuesday here today as we're going to have a lot of things to get into today. Of course, continuing our discussion with Razorback basketball. Arkansas football hires a new defensive line coach that may or may not be related to Curtis, but we will talk about that and dive into that. We'll also have Razorback baseball getting back at action today against an in-state rival of Arkansas State at Walker Stadium. And, of course, getting to all of your chats and everything going on there. But, fellas, it's Tuesday, so how are the vibes here this afternoon?
Vibes are good. It's a good day to be a Razorback, a bad day to be a Red Wolf.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, they wouldn't even let the university play this game back in the day. You know, they were so scared of playing in-state games. And now that we've broken that barrier in baseball, we have like 5 a year. And this is awesome. It's awesome, assuming that Arkansas is going to do what they're supposed to do and whip some ass.
I know that I know Beckman's lurking around in here, so show yourself today, buddy.
Apparently, Arkansas State's pretty good. I would have no way of knowing because I have not watched Arkansas State play baseball, but apparently that's what people are saying is that they're pretty good.
Back in my day, when my grandparents lived in Jonesboro, my dad used to take me to their games all the time, and they were pretty good back then. Sunbelt Dogs.
Yeah, listen, I'm sure that if Arkansas happens to lose one of these in midweek games to Arkansas State by a final score of like 13-12, I'm sure the reaction will be extremely normal and totally fine for everything. So, yeah, first pitch is at 3 p.m. Who's on the bump today? Do we know, Andrew?
Peyton Lee will get the ball today, and tomorrow's TBA versus TBA, so that means it's going to be an absolute disaster for both squads.
Yeah, it's about to say, in that case, just make sure that you have plenty of time carved out for your day to watch Razorback baseball, because it's going to be a long one, probably, with the amount of runs scored and pitching changes and all of that. But we'll dive in a lot into that, too. And, of course, we know Arkansas continuing on with their SEC slate here in the basketball side of things. And Texas A&M coming to town tomorrow, 8 p.m. will be the game there at Bud Walton Arena. It's funny because we know like Texas and Texas A&M, your final two home games, teams you only played once. You haven't played either of them all season long. And it's almost like with A&M, I'm like, man, I guess maybe it's because you played them twice every year for so long that I almost forgot. I'm like, oh, yeah, you still have to play A&M. And in Bucky over there, first year coach, it's not Buzz anymore, which
thank God.
It's just like I got sick and tired of just seeing offensive rebounds and free throws in those games. So like it's a very different animal, very different atmosphere. But yeah, this is like one of those teams. Like we talk about how much the season sneaks up at the end of it. It's one of those games that snuck up on me too. Of just because I feel like at one point in time, remember A&M best record in the SEC, like they got all of this, and they're still good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that the I guess the shine may be worn off a little bit once they start actually playing some decent teams in the SEC.
Yeah, dude, imagine all these years in the past of, well, we got a Wednesday night 8 p.m. tip against Texas A&M. That's about as depressing as it possibly gets. So shout out to Bucky McMillan for being over there now. If there's one thing that we can guarantee about tomorrow's game, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be back and forth, up tempo, fast paced, probably a lot of scoring. So from that standpoint, if you're going to have a late game, let's do it that way instead of, like you mentioned, the old school way of free throws and offensive rebounds and 3-hour and 15-minute basketball games. But yeah, A&M's had an interesting season. It's kind of been like a sandwich, right? I'm not going to say what kind of sandwich, but it didn't start off great. They had some wonky losses in non-conference play. But yeah, they got on that heater. And it wasn't that long ago when we looked up and we're like, okay, these dudes are 17-4. They're alone in first place in the SEC standings. They're not ranked. And I even championed them on Inside SEC Basketball Live. I was like, how the hell are you not ranking these guys? This is crazy. And a lot of the haters out there said, well, just hang tight because the back half of the schedule is going to catch up to them. And it has, to a degree. Now, they won 2 games last week, close ones against Ole Miss and Oklahoma, but I think they had lost 4 in a row up to that point. But this is an important game. Texas A&M is going to make the tournament. They're a good team, and they are that one team right now outside of the top 4 who's a game back. So they could come in and kind of, crash the party, if you will, for those double buys in Nashville. Arkansas gets this win. They're going to be in really great shape there. So a lot to play for here for both teams.
Yeah, credit to Bucky McMillan, man. He's had these dudes ready in year one, which is hard to do. I mean, I know we can, the transfer portal exists. Rebuilding isn't really a thing anymore. As a first-year coach, you can come in and have success. But one thing that A&M lived on in SEC play to start was they were just ahead of schedule. They were a little bit more connected than everyone else. They were very comfortable playing at a fast pace. They were able to win a lot of close games and just kind of beat teams in the margins as everyone else is kind of finding their identity. They found their identity pretty early. What I think we found out now here lately is this still isn't a very talented A&M team. They were picked near the bottom of the SEC for a reason in terms of what they have on paper. And now that other SEC teams are starting to find their identity, plus they're now playing some of these better SEC teams, we've seen them come back down the earth a little bit. But the fact that they're in this position where if they beat Arkansas, they're right there in that mix for all these teams to maybe finish second in SEC. That's really impressive. And so this is a game that if it had happened 2 months ago, I would have been panicking, because of the way that A&M was playing, because of the way that Arkansas had these lulls where they would have 4 or 5 minute stretches of losing focus. That kind of stuff doesn't fly against A&M, if I'm being honest with you, because they don't really lose focus for 5 minutes at a time. But now that Arkansas has kind of evolved into a little bit more mature version of themselves, or at least so we think, I think they'll be able to handle this matchup. But I'm glad it's happening now and rather than 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I was thinking it was funny because obviously, A&M, they've won some really good games. And I saw that, I guess, Agee, or Agee, however you say his last name, averages 14 points a game. He's their leading scorer at averaging 14 points a game, which I'm like, A-Cuff's got 22.5, buddy. But then you look at how much they're scoring per game, and it's pretty close to what Arkansas is scoring per game. And I'm like, whoa. So, I mean, it's you're telling me that a guy is leading the team in points per game at 14, but yet they're scoring pretty much at the same clip on average as Arkansas. It kind of shows you the how they distribute the offense and the different players that can get involved in there. So I just thought that was pretty fascinating, because if you told me that there's a team like that averages around the same amount of points per game like Arkansas, I probably would say, hey, they must have a guy that averages 18 points, 19 points a game. Nope. 14 points a game is the guy that's leading the charge.
Yeah, and it's a heavy guard oriented undersized team, and it's their kind of like their one big man that they like to go to who leads the charge there. And yeah, and it's not just like a balanced attack from a standpoint of, all the starters contribute and everything like that. They go 11 deep, and they play a bunch of guys in that, 16 to 22 minute range. And that was one thing Chuck Martin press conference with him this morning, and he was talking about that, where that is one of the challenges with them is they bring 4 or 5 guys off the bench. And a lot of times when you bring players in off the bench, it's like they kind of know their role. Like you're in there to give somebody a breather, to supplement. And those guys have the full green light. Like they bring Pop Isaacs off the bench, and he's one of their best players. So, yeah, it's a unique challenge. The buckyball thing is really interesting. They're going to press for 40 minutes. And one thing that Martin was talking about was how they press after a miss. A lot of teams, like if they get a miss and you get a rebound, they're going to back up. They're going to go set their defense. You press after a make, or you press after a free throw, they're going to press you right away. So immediately in my head, I'm like, good Lord, how many times has Nick Pringle grabbed a rebound and had it poked out of his arms right away? He better be on alert in this game. But that's what Andrew was talking about with the focus. Like you can't let up at all, or they will turn you over and score on you. Fascinating matchup, because the key to Texas A&M winning this game is to generate some turnovers and be able to get that offense going, get their energy going in transition. Arkansas turns it over as few times as anybody in the country. So if they take care of the ball at home, they should be just fine. It's a fun game.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that, like, if what we assume to be true holds true, Arkansas is going to be fine. Historically at Bud Walton Arena, obviously Arkansas plays pretty well. Only the one loss this year where you could say they lost a little bit of focus there, taking care of the basketball, something Arkansas does extremely well. If those things hold true, Arkansas is going to be okay. And if Arkansas really has gotten that weird lack of attention to detail out of their system, because we really haven't seen the huge ups and downs throughout the course of the game over the last 4 or 5 games for Arkansas. So if all those things continue at the rate they have been, I think this kind of makes sense and is a perfect matchup in a way for Arkansas to kind of hold serve at home. But man, A&M is just not the type of team that you can afford to bring your C+ game against. They will make you look stupid in some of those settings. And I mean, we've seen this Arkansas defense struggle with any number of challenges. I can absolutely see someone like Agee outworking dudes down low, finding some easy looks from point blank range, and Arkansas's guards giving up 3. There's just things you can see happening. But I do think Arkansas has the maturity. They have the horses. They will have the home court. I think Arkansas can get through this game here, but man, it is a little bit of a danger spot.
Well, I feel like there's just so many teams that are just like that, obviously in different styles, but hey, they're just good enough to beat you. Like they may not be a great team, but they're good enough to beat you. And I know that I think it was on the Pod of the Palace post-game show. against Missouri, everyone was just wanting immediate updates on health, and there was no immediate updates because it literally nothing had changed. But I know you listened to the press conference today, Curtis. Was there any updates on any of the health of the particular players that I'm sure everybody's going to be asking about?
Yeah, we found out quicker than I thought we would. I guess by Sunday we had pretty good indication that Billy was going to be fine. So he's good to go. He's available. He'll be in the lineup tomorrow. Sealy is the one that Chuck Martin talked about today that I was kind of not taken aback, but interested in what he had to say, because he was doubtful the night before the game Saturday. He was taken off the report. So it's like, okay, he's available, but it was pretty clear they didn't want to use him unless they had to. And his message on Sealy was pretty much, he's getting better. We'll see what practice looks like. We'll see what he looks like for shoot around and everything tomorrow. But as I understand it, that hip, it's been something that's kind of been maybe lingering for a little bit now. So it's anything that sticks with you for a while, it kind of takes longer to heal up completely. And I kind of get the sense that we might be in the same situation here with Arkansas tomorrow from a standpoint of you've got that extra guy if you have to have him. I have a feeling they're going to try to navigate this one with 7 again if they can get away with it. But we'll know pretty quick in warmups because against Missouri, when they ran out there and took the floor and got in layup lines, I was like, oh, this dude ain't playing. So we'll see.
The good thing is I feel like Arkansas can get away with playing DJ Wagner a lot of minutes at the 2 or the 3.
Yes, small
just
team.
kind of with the way A&M plays. So I think this is another huge opportunity for him. You might not want to make a living with DJ Wagner playing 24 for 25 minutes for you. He could probably do it in this game.
Yeah, if he needed to, he can step up into that role. And I want to continue to talk about this as well as some other things as well. But we got to remind everybody that OZK Insurance, folks, they got an awesome app. And if you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out because they are set apart with OZK Insurance from everybody else. They're an independent insurance agency, which means that they're not just tied to one company. They shop a multitude of A-rated carriers to find the best coverage as well as the best price just for you. And now they've paired with something that you don't usually see from an independent agency, a full-service mobile app. Because with the OZK Insurance app, you can see all of your policies under one roof. It doesn't matter if it's home, auto, whatever you have. Plus, you can also pay the bills, request roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes, all from the easiness and convenience of your cell phone. Now, the best part about being an independent agent, of course, is choice, flexibility, and real people. But when you add in the convenience of modern tech, it's always a game changer. So if you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or the Google Play Store. Local agency, national level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. And I was thinking with Billy and the health and situation, I don't mean this in any negative way, so hopefully no one takes it this way. But it's like, man, say if Billy, which I hope he doesn't, say if Billy left after this year and tries to go pro and all that stuff. I feel like the image of Billy Richmond I'm going to have is him wincing in pain in Bud Walton Arena. Because, it's just like, and again, I don't mean it in a negative way, but it's like, because I think it shows how hard he goes in the paint and like how much he gives 110%. But, considering, last year, Mississippi State, the guy's carrying him off the court. I feel like the last 2 games he's over there, just whether it's cramps or whether it's something. And again, you don't want to see him hurt or anything, but it's just like it's funny because he's such an pretty even keel guy for the most part when you see him checking into a game or coming out of a game or whatever. But he's had some painful looks here at Arkansas, especially this season too.
If you he really has, man. The image that will always live in my mind, it's twofold, I guess. One was them carrying him off the floor after that Mississippi State game last year, where he got the block and he was cramping. I don't even remember who was holding him, a dude Thero and somebody else.
It was Lawson Blake, I believe, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah, carried him off the floor. And we're like, oh wow. That one, and then him dancing in the locker room that time in the NCAA tournament. We were in there doing interviews, but you're 100% right, man. And like, Saturday's Missouri game was just the epitome of the Billy Richmond experience. Like he gets in the game, he's doing the downhill Bill thing. He's, super aggressive, looks great, flying around all over the place. He hits a couple threes where you're like, oh my gosh, man, that's crazy. He's got the crowd going like he always does. And then he almost starts an entire melee at halftime. And then he's just getting the hell beat out of him by his own teammate and wincing in pain like you're talking about there. It was literally the full spectrum of what we've seen from Billy Richmond in the last couple of years, all on display on Saturday. So I'm glad to hear that he is okay and he's ready to go for this game tomorrow night.
Yeah, I hate to have to talk about professional wrestling on the show, but I've got to talk about professional wrestling on the show. There's a reason why people sell and they sell exhaustion. They'll be in the 20 minutes into the match and they're like barely staggering to their feet because the audience buys that. We're like, oh, we've seen you do all these cool moves. We can buy that you're, really at the brink right here and you're at the end of your wits and you're really running out of gas, but you're fighting with everything you have. Billy kind of has that where we don't have to wonder because, the worst is when you have someone who's faking injuries and you're like, how did you even get that injury? You hadn't even been playing hard. You hadn't even been doing anything. But with Billy, we see him come up limping and we're like, oh, we know he's limping because he went balls to the wall because he went and tried to get that chase down block. Oh, his head's a little bit sore because he's in the mix there. He's fighting for rebounds, getting elbowed in the face. Like we see him showing those signs of fatigue or those signs of cracking. And it's like, we know how he got there because we've been watching him play. And it's like, kind of like you appreciate it a little bit more. It's, the same as The Rock limping his way out of the ring. You're like, I saw him hit those moves. I know why he's limping. He went there and went toe to toe with Stone Cold. That's why he's limping. It's that way with Billy Richmond.
Yeah, because if there was somebody else, and who knows, maybe outsiders think of it this way, but if it was somebody else, somebody would be like, oh, this guy's just a drama queen, always getting hurt, but yet the next game he's back after it. I think people would take that approach, but it's because we know and we watch Billy, because Billy's not really like a look at me guy at all. Like, he's not. And so the fact that I truly believe when he's out there and wincing in pain, it's pretty serious and he's in serious pain. And I think that's, the crowd getting behind him and the crowd, loving what he does is just awesome. But it's like, man, I just don't want to ever put myself, and I don't think I will, but hopefully I don't ever put myself in the situation where seeing him wincing in pain, saying I get tomorrow night and be like, he's fine, totally. And then find out it's like something serious because it's just, he continues to battle back. I hope that never happens.
Yeah, me too, man. And listen, I love my wife to death. I wouldn't trade her for anything, but I wish I could find someone who loved me the way John Calipari loves Billy Richmond. Like it's crazy, man. The way that he talks him up, he has pushed him into fan favorite status, which he would have gotten anyway. But I was listening a little bit to his radio show last night, and he was talking about like comps for Billy. Everybody loves to ask Cal that, and why not? Because he's coached so many players over the years. And he was like, "Oh, what about Dr. J?" I was just like, "What?"
Sure.
So it's just always high praise, and even Chuck Martin today, when he was asked about Billy making those shots and some of the things that he's doing there, he just lit up with a big smile on his face, and he was completely stoic the rest of the press conference. But there's just something about that energy. Cal always talks about losing yourself within the team, and that's just easier said than done for so many guys these days with NIL and the way that they recruit with the star power and everything. But he just does that, and so it's got to be a really refreshing player to have on your team who's just all about competing, all about winning, and he just understands that he's doing something that's bigger than himself. So good on Billy, man. He's a stud.
Help me out real quick, because Arkansas's had a lot of left-handed guards / wings who were like energy guys who weren't crazy skilled necessarily, but just kind of like Anton Beard, I would say, is an example of this. Desi Silvo, very big example of this.
Mm-hmm.
Is Billy like the ultimate evolution of that? I mean, he's probably the best version of it, and I'd say the most dynamic, probably the biggest version of it, but like he's kind of like the final boss of Arkansas's left-handed energy guards.
Well, I was going to throw in maybe the comparison of like the Ja'Cory Williams, like a better Ja'Cory Williams.
Yeah,
he was a left-handed guy, freak athlete. I'm not saying that Billy's like the same as Ja'Cory, although Ja'Cory, I think he won a conference player of the year when he transferred to Middle Tennessee or something like that for Kermit Davis. But still, I've always looked at him as kind of being maybe more of that, where left-handed, taller guy, but freak athlete and can do a lot of different things. And as long as he goes 110 miles an hour too.
Yeah, he does, man. We're about to start getting some of those like postseason lists that start coming out. I love getting the preseason list because it's the dog days and I can spend a whole segment breaking them down. But I know the one that comes out, and I can't remember who does it, but it's like the glue guys, the ultimate glue guys in college basketball. I guarantee you that Billy Richmond is going to be on that list.
I saw a thing the other day, Curtis. I can't remember if it was Torvik or someone else, but they did a list of the best glue guys in college basketball, and Arkansas had a player on the list. Do you want to know who that player was? It was not Billy.
Why am I wanting to say Nick Pringle? Who is it?
Not Nick Pringle, but your head's in the right place.
Who we got?
Malik Ewan.
I don't know, man.
He's just one of those guys that the nerds have I've identified as,
Okay.
when he's on the floor, just good things happen for Arkansas, even
Well,
if he's
that's
not doing
true.
anything.
Yeah.
And so he I don't know how they set the qualifiers, but I think it was Torvik, and he had him as like the 7th best glue guy in college basketball.
I'm gonna go find that, and I'm gonna start using it every day.
Billy low-key might have graduated from glue guy, because
See,
now that he's
that's
scoring
true.
20 a game,
Yeah.
he's like, honestly, a star player.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking, because somebody, it was actually a Kentucky fan that was in my DMs 2 nights ago on Instagram, of all places. Yeah, who would have guessed? But it was just sitting there, and I thought he was trolling at first, but he was just like, hey, man, Malik Ewan is like, he's going to be the X factor for you. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. But he's like, no. He's like, he's a really good player. And I kept like pushing him. I was like, are you being serious with me? Or are you just, not to say that Malik Ewan's not a good player or anything. I just couldn't really tell. But I don't know. He may have been using Torvik. He may have used something like that, but he was saying, the numbers say this about him. I was like, okay. Like, I'm going to trust your judgment.
I mean, there's a lot of data out there from, throughout the course of the season, SEC play and everything, that offense and defense and overall, because, those things coincide with each other, but Arkansas is a hell of a lot better with Malik Ewan on the floor than off of it. And, you got to take into account the eye test and everything too. And sometimes he seems like he's playing harder than others or is more locked in than other games, but I mean, it's not a small sample size anymore. So
you know what I think it is? Back in the day, y'all remember PER in NBA, where it was like player efficiency rating or whatever? I think Michael Jordan and LeBron are the 2 top of all time or something like that. And so it was like kind of a huge thing. There was a stretch where it got skewed towards centers because centers all shoot such a high percentage and, they rebound pretty well. And so it's like the only things they do equate to good things in numbers. I think that's a little bit with Malik Ewan, where it's like he's not going to attempt a shot unless it's going in. He's not going to make a pass unless it's going to lead to an assist. He's not even going to attempt to block a shot unless he can block it. And so I wonder if he's kind of maybe rigging the system in a weird way, like the quarterback who spams 4-yard outs and has a 93 PFF grade. That's what Malik Ewan's doing in basketball terms.
That's a good comparison right there. I like it.
That'd be awesome. We'll continue our discussion here on the show, folks. I want to remind everybody that our guy Sharkensaw has a company and a brand to help you out, because it is a small independent code studio called Mad Labs Code Studio. Get it? Because his name's Derek Madden and Mad Labs. You know what I'm saying. And he does a great job, and he's one of our great supporters here at Inside Arkansas. And one of the best things that they do, of course, is focusing on thoughtful and long-term software work rather than these other quick disposable builds. Because a lot of you who have companies and businesses, when it comes to your websites or your apps, you try to go to some sort of website because you just Google it and it brings you to this national corporate thing. And then you have something that's just like, we're going to make this to what we made for this other company, so you can just do the same thing. But it doesn't feel like yours. It's not customizable. It's not something that gives the feel of your company and in your brand that you want. But that's what sets our guy Sharkensaw apart, is that he is going to focus in on making it catered towards you, towards your brand, and make it as customizable and as easy to use as possible. And he helps teams not only just have those custom websites and web applications, but internal tools, dashboards, admin systems, system modernization, as well as refactoring, integrations, automation, ongoing support, and improvements all the time. The guy does it all. So if you're needing this when it comes to getting fully custom builds on your website or in your web app or whatever it may be, hit up our guy Sharkensaw by scanning that QR code on your screen or clicking the link in the description below. And with that, you will get a free 30-minute strategy call. Just say that Inside Arkansas sent you. It's as simple as that. You get a free 30-minute strategy call with our guy Sharkensaw, Derek Madden. I think you can call him Sharkensaw. He'll probably love it too. But give him a call today. Check it out and get it done with Mad Labs Code Studio with our guy Sharkensaw. So, all right. So shifting gears a little bit, guys, because I know we talked a lot of basketball. We got to switch to football, though. I know everyone in the chat's going to lose their minds. Just relax. But there is some news that we have to talk about football. The Razorbacks, Ryan Silverfield, have officially hired a defensive line coach after they lost Marion Hobby, and his name is Landius Wilkerson. No relation, maybe. I don't know. But either way, he is the defensive line coach that's coming in from Tulane this past season. He was also at South Alabama under, his name just escaped me. The Kane Womack. Thank you. I was want to say Brad Whitkey, but that was another high school senior that bullied me when I was in school. But no, it was actually Kane Womack. He was the defensive line coach there. He had some really great players that he ended up coaching, ones that were all Sun Belt, and had some really good players last year. So there you have it. They're not just moving over Niji Cotton over to that spot. They went out and hired him a defensive line coach, and coming from Tulane, at least he knows what it's like to win at a high level under John Summerall when he was there.
Yeah, Silverfield keeps doing the thing where he's like, we've got we're probably not looking to add any other players, but you never know what happens. And they add a guy yesterday. We're probably okay with defensive line coach. I'm really happy with who we have, but we'll evaluate that down the road and see. Hires a defensive line coach. Clint Trickett's out of here. Here comes so he's gonna fill the spots, and he did one here. I'm very happy about this. Like Ryan Silverfield, he gets a year-long pass for me. I'm in his corner no matter what he does. I have not forgiven John Calipari for not bringing my namesake into the basketball program and letting Lamar Wilkerson go to Indiana. Ryan Silverfield has made up for that now. I appreciate him. It's still not going to get a name on a jersey, but at least it's on the website. So I'm in from that standpoint. I can just tell you based on the name, he's going to be a good coach. And that's honestly all I know about him.
Yeah, in terms of defensive line coach hires that you had to do at the last minute because your guy went to the NFL about a week before spring practice, I think this rates pretty well. Like, it would have been hard to find a guy as qualified given the circumstances of when this move took place. Do either of y'all know the answer to the question of so he obviously on staff with Summerall? I'm assuming he wasn't on Florida's staff. Was he just going to stay at Tulane? Was he about to do something else?
Looked like he was just staying at Tulane from what I saw. So, I don't know if that's exactly what was going on, but this is something where, hey, we just like with Trent Trickett and Marion Hobby, if you get a call to a better spot, you take it. So that's my understanding on it.
I like it.
Yeah, but now they have the 12 full-time coaches that they got after losing all of those guys, and there's a few players though of note. That it was defensive lineman Wacavius Thomas, who was third-team All Sun Belt when he was there over at South Alabama, and he said he's kind of been one of those up-and-coming coaches that people have been pretty excited about. And it seems like his connections, not surprising, are really in Alabama. He has a lot of connections in the state of Alabama, which last time I checked, you have just really good players that come from there. So either way, you got it. So now you're back to normal, back to business, spring football. I don't know when the schedule is going to come out because we have a spring game, but we just don't have the spring football schedule yet. But we're getting close to the end of February, so I assume here within the next few days we'll probably have that, and I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk to him and talk about that process and everything going on there too. So
yeah, for sure. Didn't we? We got the official start date for practice, didn't we?
Well,
but we don't have the schedule of like every day when they go and when we'll be able to see them and everything like that.
Correct. Yeah, because I think it's the spring game's April 25th. I know that.
Yeah.
And, practice starts in like March? Was like March 13th?
I'm pulling it up right here. Head coach Ryan Silverfield will lead the Razorbacks onto the field for the team's first spring practice on Sunday, March 15th, and wrap up spring drills on the 25th. Is that Selection Sunday?
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
what the hell, man.
This has happened a lot where
I know.
There's a baseball series at Baum, which in this case I think it'll be the Mississippi State series. You have Selection Sunday happening that same day and the first football practice. I remember covering all three one year.
Hey, as I'd say, imagine if like Arkansas is in the SEC title game on Sunday in basketball. You got baseball going on. You got the practice. You got Selection Sunday. It's just that Sunday could just get off the rails quick and be insane. But
give me that.
Yeah, just so there'll be no shortage of things to talk about and things to discuss.
Yeah. At least it gives us an opportunity to get out there and see them before we're traveling for the next 3 weeks.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Or if they are really nice and just make it OKC, then we can just make some day trips back and forth.
You think we can petition them to move it to Monday? Because like that Monday would be perfect. Because like we would be coming down from the high of like, oh yeah, Arkansas just swept Mississippi State. We're a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. Heck yeah. Then like that Monday we could do the football stuff. Just space it out a little bit.
I would be down for that. It does make me wonder. Like, I don't think it's ever started on a Sunday. Why would you start it on?
It
Sunday?
does for some reason. It does start on Sunday because I vividly remember. I guess it would have been 2022. Okay. One of the years where they were a 3 or 4 seed or whatever. It was one of those same situation where it all happened on the same day.
No, see, I thought it was always like on either a Monday or like sometimes randomly on a Thursday. I'm sure there's reasons why for scheduling and protocol and policies and all that, but just seemed like it was maybe I was just so focused in on Selection Sunday and stuff. I never really paid attention to it.
I definitely remember being in Tampa when the SEC tournament was down there, and then I was trying to get back in time for the little selection show thing that they were having, where he was just like in a horrible mood the entire time, and I couldn't make it back in time. And I remember Trey being not upset, but like trying to figure out how to work the logistics, because it was like, well, we've got spring football practice, but we got to get somebody to Selection Sunday, So it was like
I tell you exactly what Trey did. He sent Andrew Ellis to all 3 events.
Yeah.
I remember having to leave bomb, and Caden Wallace had just hit a home run. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh crap, I'm missing that. I had to go to that stupid football practice and then go hear Muss just chew us out. It was great.
Yeah.
Was that because the one I remember was that the one in the north end zone of the football stadium with Muss?
That's usually where they'll
Probably.
have the selection show party.
Well, yeah, because when I'll never forget, because that was the first time, I believe that was like the JD Note year and everything. And that was like the first time, because previously there was anyways, that's the first time I like really got to see a watch party or whatever, selection show party. And yeah, and I went in there and there was a ton of people in there all excited. And they walked in, you're like, oh, well, they just killed the mood. Like the team walks in and just kills the mood. It's like, okay, well,
I
we
witnessed
just lose to
Texas A&M
okay.
actually in the SEC tournament, and I witnessed the aftermath of that, and I was like, oh, he's not that dude is not in a good mood after this one, man. I will say the best vibes for one of those watch parties of the Muss era was interestingly enough the last year they made the tournament when we were at walk-ons. Were you there for that one, John?
No, I was not. I was in Little Rock still for that.
Yeah, because they wound up in that 8-9 game with Illinois, but they had Kansas and everything, and that was the most chilled out it's ever been, and that was like the worst team that he had that made the tournament.
No, Kirsten, the reason I didn't go is because the last one was so miserable that I'm like, there's no point in me going. I remember I told Justin Acreek, he's like, hey, you want to go to that? I'm like, dude, it was terrible last year. It's like everyone was mad. It's like, dude, it was terrible. But then I think you even told me, like, hey, this one was great. I think maybe you and Scotty were like, yeah, it was cool. It was chill. I was like, dadgummit.
Yeah, Muss was like working the room, and they put us, they gave us a media table. I think it was one table and one booth that was like right in there in the middle of the team and everybody else. It was awesome. It's like, man, we're really getting taken care of here.
Yeah, man, good time. They don't do anything for baseball, do they? Like any watch parties, or do they do it?
No, they just film. They just film the locker room, and it's just like they're all just sitting there because like usually I guess they're already back from Hoover and they're just like practicing.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the fellas will be in Nashville this year for Selection Sunday, so
it's true.
Yeah, they'll be on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're just by that point maybe they'll have the nets. They'll be on the private jet. They'll be on Johnny T's private jet with the nets around their necks and flying in with trophies and stuff. And it's like, hey, here's the live in action. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is good on Johnny T's plane.
That would be a classic. John Calipari gets off the plane. There are the reporters, and he's like, "When who do we play next? When do we play?" Situation. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love the fact. I know you guys talked about it, but since you brought it up. Well, it may have been after. I don't think it was after Missouri. It may have been after Alabama or maybe whatever it was. But I just remember Cal being like, "Hey, we got 6 games left. We could lose all of them." And then just like 5 seconds later, he also goes, "I don't even know who we're playing next." Like, it's like, how do you not know? You're like, "Are you going to say that?" You're like, "Oh, we can lose all these games." I'm like, well, I don't even know who we're playing.
He was like, "They just told me we're playing A&M next. That's what I'm being told." Like, that's just good stuff.
This is a good thing I've watched them on film against other teams. So
yeah. By the way, John, I think we've determined that you can't be on the selection show stream only because you're going to be stressed the hell out, worried about where they're going to be, especially if it ends up not being OKC. I think you just have to you just have to go be doing your thing, and I feel like you can join us when the Airbnb's booked.
I feel like he couldn't even celebrate last year. It's because we knew about 90 seconds before it happened. It was like, oh God, we're going to Providence. And we could just see John's face. And I could see him typing. I was like, all right, he's looking at flights right now. It was tough on you, man.
I will say, first off, I appreciate that. And second off, I probably won't be on it anyways. But third off, that was my first time ever doing it. So that was where I was stressed, because always before it was like the Buzz did it for me or somebody else did it. But I was like, this was like, okay. And also because it was Providence, like, because I think we all like looked at it. I think it was the second most difficult thing to navigate through next to, what was it, Seattle? There's the other one. But that's where I was just like really pissed off because I'm like, are you serious? Of all the locations, like, and that's what I have a fear. It's like if it ends up being Buffalo or Portland, I might do something bad. Well, I might fight somebody.
In Lenardi's update this morning, it is San Diego and then Houston.
Hey, that actually is pretty solid.
I'm not going to be mad about San Diego.
It won't be a cheap trip,
no,
but that will
won't
be a fun trip.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like, if I'm having to go far away, San Diego would be my choice. But
yeah.
I don't. I mean, it's because like if it's Portland, man, like I don't even know of a trip in my life that I would look forward to less, because I know if they go to Portland, it's going to be the first freaking time that they like lose in the first round, and I'm going to be even madder, and it's just going to be like, I never want to go to this godforsaken city again. It's just
if Arkansas ends up going to San Diego, we have to be cheering for Muss to not make the tournament, which I think is going to happen, by the way.
Yeah, they're in trouble. That they lost to that Oregon team the other day.
I can't believe they're even having a chance right now because they've got 3 completely inexcusable losses. But anyways, I genuinely, and I don't say that because we love Muss, but like I would like to maybe hang out with them in San Diego, which I think we could possibly do if they're not playing.
100%. Yeah.
I'm sure, because that's the thing is like, I know no one cares about this, but really us. But like, I like to go to cities to where we can hang out because we work. Like, there's a lot of stuff we do, but I also like want to enjoy the city. And like Buffalo is not exactly a city you can just go out and enjoy. Providence was fine, but it wasn't like anything spectacular. But if we go to, OKC, people can say, but at least it's close. St. Louis, same thing. It's like Philadelphia, for instance. Like, hey, that's a city we can go and do stuff. Tampa, like I love Tampa. Tampa, like the weather will be nicer. It's like that would be great.
We had a great time at Chinatown, San Francisco. It was a great time.
We did. Like every other day, I break out that samurai outfit and just put it up beside Wesley. I'm like, "Are you getting closer, man?"
Is today the day? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I still got my nunchucks just from over there.
You got those, yeah, dude.
Because I was like, man, it's like I don't know if they'll let me have these on the plane because they're weapons. But that was a good time. I'm not saying all of these are good times. We make it fun. But it'd be nice to have the city give us a little something back and making it fun too.
Sure. Yeah, and we got to do the nostalgia thing last year in San Francisco. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember that. I know Andrew hates that stuff. We'd be doing the same thing in Buffalo. Like I had a good time there, but we just be going back to the same places and telling the same stories. And Andrew would be like, yeah, I don't care. Can we make our own memories here, please?
Yeah.
So,
Well, honestly, I know we're really going down memory lane here, but my favorite thing I think about San Francisco is I got to witness Andrew laugh the hardest I've ever heard him laugh, and uncontrollably. And it still makes me laugh still to this day. The wheezing that was going on because of the homeless guy, the almost naked guy, if we put a bombastic shirt on him, like that was
all
just
because of a hypothetical scenario that we made up in our heads that made me laugh. That, I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah,
times, man.
Yeah. So we'll have some great memories, and we'll make it wherever it goes, and we'll have people come along with us and everything. So
I will throw out here real quick that, the projections are going to change or whatever, but it does have Arkansas in a 5-12 game with Yale, which I started on the Pot the Palace. At the end of every show, I'm doing this is a team you might see in March Madness based on your seed. I started it yesterday, and the first one I did was Yale, so I'm happy to see this. Bracketology expert over here. But then they would get Texas Tech or UNC Wilmington. I don't think they give them the Texas Tech matchup, but would you guys like to see Texas Tech without JT Toppin? I would. You know what I mean? But then in the Sweet 16, you would get UConn is the 1 seed in there, but the 8-9 game is Clemson versus Kentucky.
Man. Yeah, I just assume I'm always just going to assume the worst, and then whenever it happens, if it ends up being a positive, that's fine too. So, but I would just like to go to a place to where Arkansas has the majority of the fans. I don't know if that'll ever happen, because it seems like you're always going to get paired into because it's like that year, I think the closest we got was in Buffalo, because like UConn lost early. And so after that, it was like just a bunch of teams, but like, was it Kansas one year, Gonzaga one year, last year, Duke. St. John's. Yeah. Duke.
Florida brought a lot of fans to San Fran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I still am really surprised by, but yeah, the fact that they did that was,
there's a bunch impressive. When we were in Buffalo, there's a lot of UConn fans there. And they lost, but there's a bunch of Vermont fans
Yeah.
there. I remember.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we just got a few more weeks. It's what we know, and what's inevitable is that Arkansas will be playing in the NCAA tournament. It's just a matter of where they'll end up. So we'll get to your chats. We'll get to a lot of other things here on the show today. But I want to remind everybody that Hickey and Hole Law is the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas. No matter your legal needs, they can help you out each and every step of the way. Divorce and custody cases, we know how important those are, because when you're dealing with family, when you're dealing with possessions, when you're dealing with homes, those are the things that you have to make sure you lock in on and have all the details taken care of, because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of minutia. There's a lot of fine details that can make the difference in you being represented correctly. So don't do it on your own. Have Hickey and Hole Law, because they've handled thousands of family law cases and experienced nearly every scenario that has ever come up. The foundation to that strong attorney relationship is honesty and trust, and Hickey and Hole Law has that for you. So if you're needing their assistance, all you got to do is call them, as they have offices across the entire state of Arkansas at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. Okay, I know we're going to just have to talk about this because it's so funny. Our boy Mark Pope got fined by the SEC. You know, can you believe that? Can you believe that he went to that after that press conference with the door wide open in front of the media and yelled at their AD and said, "Those mother effers better not fine me. They better not, because I didn't say anything about them screwing us over." Well, I found out this morning via a press release that they had actually indeed fined him. He's been fined $25,000 by the SEC for post-game conduct and comments related to officiating following that game. It comments violated the bylaw of sportsmanship regarding public criticisms of officials, which prohibit coaches, student athletes, and institutional staff from publicly criticizing officials or disclosing officiating-related communications. So, guys, can you believe that the SEC, even though Mark Pope made his case and saying, I didn't say nothing, I didn't say anything about it, they still ended up fining him? What kind of injustice is this?
You can't even say anything within earshot, buddy. When you're still in position to get hot, Mike, they'll get you. They'll get you for that. When it goes viral on social media, they're going to get you for that. I'm sorry. I think that this is objectively hilarious, to where when we talked about it, you know, the whole situation yesterday, but when you walk off of the stage and out the door and you immediately run to your boss and start whining about the officiating, they're not going to find me, right? No, Mitch. And then you get fined anyway. That is awesome. I think that's hilarious. $25,000. It's a drop in the bucket, whatever. He could pay that out of his front pocket, but I think it's funny. And that he got publicly reprimanded for it is just, it's hilarious. And yeah, John, you said it a while ago, like it just, of all the coaches in the SEC, you would think that would get fined, you know, for criticizing officials and everything like that. Mark Pope was not high on that list, but here we are.
Well, it's just one of those things. It's a lesson why you never do that game of like, you better not do this thing, because then what does that person want to do? The thing you told them not to do. If I tell you not to touch the hot stove, you now secretly kind of want to touch the hot stove. And so if you're sitting there doing you better not fine me, the SEC is going to want to fine you when you're pretty much daring them publicly. And then now and I asked this question yesterday, I was like, what are you going to do? Because he's like, they better not fine me. Or what? What are you going to do? Like, genuinely, right. What are you going to do other than pay your fine and shut the hell up? That's what you're going to do. And because like seriously, are you going to like storm the Birmingham offices? Or are you going to like protest the season and forfeit your games? Like, genuinely, why did you say that? Like, what were you actually meaning by that? Like, oh, they better not, or what? And now here we are, because they did. What are you going to do? Yeah,
that's my thing of like, you know, we've talked about the disingenuous nature that it seemed to come across in so many levels. But yeah, again, everyone gets competitive. You let your emotions get the best of you. It happens to everybody. It happens to coaches, happens to players, happens to all of that. But yeah, I didn't even have a problem with what he said necessarily. It's a little cheesy in the press conference. It was that after effect where I'm like, all that stuff, you might as well just stood in there and said, these officials suck. They're terrible. I can't believe they have poop running out of their mouths. Like, you should have just gone all that, because you would have been fined the same amount. But then you go off and I just don't know what the purpose of it was, where it's like, just say it. You know that door is open. You're yelling it. Microphones are everywhere. I mean, guys, we're using microphones right now. They can pick up a lot. Like, I just don't understand what the purpose of all of that charade was when you kept saying that you didn't want to get fined, but you knew you were going to get fined and you knew you were being heard, but you acted like you weren't. I just didn't understand any of it, really.
Well, it's a guy who it seems like he's really feeling the weight of the pressure that is on him right now. And he's been one that's kind of it's been like a roller coaster season for Kentucky. And he's been riding that wave of emotion the entire time. Would really need your leader to be even keeled throughout it all. But, he's had like the crazy press conference moments where, he said some off-color things about what he feels like he needs to do. And the cryptic thing about like what happened before the game at Louisville in the locker room. It's just been like one thing after another with him. And it seems like anytime the tensions start to rise a little bit, he starts feeling the heat. He's probably maybe listening too much to the fan base, but he gets real wobbly with the way that he acts and some of the things that he said. He's a very, very smart guy and very analytical. What's his background in? Like medicine or something? He's got like some kind of like seriously or psychology or something. I don't remember, but you figure he would maybe be able to understand that and channel those emotions a little bit, but that's what that was. Maybe he was really trying to hold back in the press conference. He just felt like he had to get it out when he got out of there. But that's it's odd behavior coming from an SEC coach and everything. And that job comes with a lot of pressure. And it seems to me like he's really feeling that right now.
He has a tendency to acknowledge his demons publicly a lot. Like whatever it is that he's worried about, he's going to go ahead and tell you that at the press conference, where he obviously references the fan base's anger all the time. And it's because that's something he thinks about all the time. He will always, when they have a couple losses, he's like, oh crap, we're really starting to spiral here, because that's his fear, is that they are spiraling. And so it's like he's always saying his fears out loud, which is almost like giving power to them. And we run into this sometimes where, we see 2 or 3 comments of people freaking out over negative stuff and we bring it up. Well, now it's a real thing. Now we've kind of spoken it into existence by acknowledging it. And so we make that mistake all the time. And I feel like, I'm not saying his team is sitting here listening and they're going to lose based on what he says, but when you're constantly talking and like bringing that negative energy into your locker room and into your press conferences and always acknowledging it and telling your team, hey, if we lose, they're going to be mad at us. It's like, I think usually what you see is the coaches that kind of try and ground their teams and say, hey, there's all this outside noise. Everyone out there is going to be mad at you. It doesn't matter. All that matters is what's here in this room and what can we do to fix it and what can we do to play great basketball. I feel like he could definitely use some of those tactics more than the, going to the press conference and trying to air out all of his grievances with officials, with the media, with the fans, with the SEC, with whoever. Sometimes, like I said yesterday, complain privately, posture publicly. Pretend like you have it all together at the press conference and then freak out behind closed doors, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also too, like I don't have an encyclopedia of every single time that SEC coach has been fined in basketball by the SEC for criticizing officials. But this has to be one of the first ones I've ever seen where they weren't actually like in a press conference behind a microphone. Like it was off to the side. And I think that because of that type of thing, I try to give the benefit of the doubt where most coaches are in control. Like if a coach gets a technical or gets ejected, like we talked about this Cal, it's like they know what they're doing. Like they know what they're doing. They know that it's not like they are shocked that they got ejected. They know. And same thing, they know when they get a technical. And I'd like to think that this was the same type of case where coaches, if they do something like this, they're in control of it and they know. They have to know. But when they do it, it's like they say it with their chest. And they sometimes will even be like, I'll probably get fined for that, but I'm still going to say it. And this was just, again, I know we keep talking about, but it's just so odd to me. And I think it kind of sums up him. And to your point, Curtis, I mean this genuinely. The pressure of Kentucky basketball and being the head coach is not something for the faint at heart. Like it's not something that you can just, be a golly shucks G guy and just walk in and have everything just go according to plan. Like you have to handle that pressure. Cal can, because Cal's a monster. Cal's a dude. But if you look at a lot of their previous coaches, they get eaten up alive in that. And I think that if Pope, I think they play South Carolina this weekend, or is it tonight, tomorrow, whatever? They play, it's tonight. They play South Carolina tonight. Man, imagine if they like come out flat and look like crap and like lose.
Well, and to your point there, good for them for that game being on the road. That benefits Kentucky in this one, because if they come out flat at home at Rupp, That place turns into a ghost town. They've been booed in there, multiple times this season. And hey, like rightfully so for some of the ways that they were playing earlier in the year. And it's just like any other fan base. When they're playing really well, they got a lot of support. So that's not a shot at BBN, but you're kind of right. Like I think back to Jeff Goodman, the poll that he did of all like the best jobs in every conference or whatever. And we were so surprised by Texas being at number 2. And what we landed on for that was, well, it's because you have all the resources without the pressure to win there, relatively speaking. And if there were any argument in the world for Kentucky not being the number 1 job, it would be the opposite. It would be the pressure that's involved there. You have to do this. You have to do that. There's such a strong narrative that can form on you and flip on you in a hurry there. And not everybody's built for a job like that. So I see Katz, who's kind of thinking about like, well, who's going to be next or whatever. And he's been on Tommy Lloyd. If I'm Tommy Lloyd, I'm staying right where I'm at, man. Kentucky might, I know they had like these grand visions of going and getting a Billy Donovan or whatever. They might need to go get someone out of the NBA who's under that constant scrutiny, multiple times daily press conferences, that type of pressure to succeed in this job right now, because I don't know that somebody who's, built a lesser program or whatever, having success, they might just want to stay where they're at, unless you're like Mark Pope and you're, an alum of the university and everything like that. It's a great job. It's a great program, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also makes me wonder, like, because we're all motivated by different things. Some people, their identity of who they are as a person is in their family. Some people, it's in their job. Some people, it's in how much money. Some people, it's in like accolades or whatever. And I think in sports, that's also huge, because obviously it's kind of all the above. But John Calipari defined success at during his Kentucky tenure? Helping families, getting kids to the NBA. And he was very adamant about that. That was his identity as a coach. That was their identity as a program. And so if you were going to judge them, you had to judge them based on that, because that's what he laid out of like, hey, this is what my goal is. And so if you're going to talk about me, judge me based on if I accomplish my goal or not. What is it with Mark Pope? Obviously he wants to win at a high level. All these guys want to, but it's like, what is he judging success on? Is it based on how happy you can make the fan base? Because if that's what you're judging it off of, you are never going to be happy as a Kentucky head basketball coach. If it is just on, wins alone, then you can probably, win enough games at Kentucky and be happy. But I think that's kind of what maybe he's going through, and maybe them as a program. It's like, what is the most important thing to you? If it is making a fan base happy, then Kentucky genuinely should never be in your, in your top thing. And for some coaches, that is their desire. They want to be as loved possibly by their university and by their fan base. And if that is what you prioritize as a coach, then I would agree Kentucky's not the spot for you.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say on this, because I know we'll get into the chats and, talk Arkansas and everything and answer your questions and everything. But I think that there's some Kentucky fans that probably are looking at the situation where, if you're going to hire a new coach, say if Mark Pope doesn't work out, if you're going to hire a new coach, as you said, Curtis, it's like you go get somebody who's either, I say in quotations, failing at a high level of the NBA or about to get out, or you have to do what you do with Mark Pope, be an up and comer or something like that. But when they hired Cal, they went into another major program and hired him. And I think that there's still elements of them that think that they can do that. We saw a little bit after Cal left. They're like, oh, just Danny Hurley, Nate Oates, like go get those coaches. Like, okay, but why would they, like, they're killing it at their places already. Why would they leave? Yeah, Scott Drew, like, why would they leave? And I think there's a lot of them that feel like, oh, well, Cal left Memphis for us. So therefore we can go and we can get one of those big time coaches. The one thing, though, I hope they never do. Just really don't hire Will Wade. I would hate to see that. Like, that would actually be very upsetting. That would be very upsetting.
Will Wade is on the short list of dudes I think would thrive.
I know
in that type of situation. Now,
I know
if Kentucky wants to become that program again, they go get Will Wade. Yeah. Please don't do that. That would be nuts, bro.
Yeah, I would hate life personally, but still. We'll get to your chats, folks. But hey, we have a quick recruiting update by our guy Dudley Dawson, as Arkansas was able to add in another player today from the tight end side of things. And before he gives us an update on that, we'll remind everybody the Goat Lab Brewery and Goat Lab Red, great place to watch Razorback games. And we've done our pregame shows there. It's been an awesome spot, and one of the best things that you can watch when those Razorback games come on, like for tomorrow night. If you don't have tickets to the game, go over there to Goat Lab Red at 1214 North Carolina Avenue, because they have progressive wing night where the wings start at a discount price. And then before tip-off, you purchase your first set of wings at $1 wing. And then the more the Razorbacks score, the cheaper the wings get until they are free. And let me tell you, with the way Arkansas scores a lot of points, they give out a lot of free wings. So if you haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. It's an awesome spot with some great brews, some great burgers, and some great wings, and a great place to watch all Razorback events, whether it's Razorback basketball, baseball, anything. Do it with Goat Lab Red. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hear from Dudley Dawson on the latest recruiting update with Razorback football.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into this Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast update. Arkansas added another walk-on player to its roster yesterday. Georgia State transferred tight end Braylon Gilbert. He's 6'4", 240. He did not play at Georgia State either his freshman year or his second year when he was a redshirt freshman. He, however, has grown. The former Georgia product has grown from 6'2", 200 since he was in high school to now 6'4", 240. So he's used those 2 years, to make it happen in the weight room and conditioning. He entered the portal back on December 20th, but didn't find the right situation. Now has found that with Arkansas. He will be one of, I think it is now 6 players that Arkansas will bring in during the summer via walk-ons and a couple of junior college players and all that. As I said, he is a walk-in. He was from Fairburn, Georgia, a Creekside. A couple of things about him. He also played basketball there in Georgia. Got some recruiting offers, decided Georgia State was the best one, went there. He also, during his 2 years, he's been on both the honors roll and dean's list. So he's been out there getting it done in the classroom. Now, this means Arkansas has added 42 players via the transfer portal to kind of to coincide with that. They've lost 38. They continued to do that as the transient nature of college football is now what it is. But Braylon Gilbert, 6'4", 240, Georgia State transfer tight end, who will be a walk-on for Arkansas.
So there you have it. There's Dudley Dawson of Inside Arkansas Recruiting giving an update on that. And I guess Arkansas's roster is for the most part completed. I mean, I felt like when Ryan Silverfield came out and said, hey, we're not really looking to add anybody. Well, they added somebody. So, hey, sometimes your mind gets changed. But tight end, okay. Hey, who knows? Can't wait for everyone to talk about him because I guarantee you that guy's going to be the practice player of the year. Spring practice, he's going to be that guy.
Already? Okay.
Yeah, already. I'm calling my shot.
Put it in the notebook here. So
yep, because we're going to have to go through that when spring practice gets going. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into some of your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As we all know, Super Chats get read first. Shout out to Washburn Idol. Says, does Cal listen to Pringle and give Ewan the start?
We talked about this a little bit last night on Inside SEC Basketball Live. I hope so. I would like to see that. If you're looking for ways to galvanize Malik Ewan to get more consistency out of him, maybe that's a way to do it. Like, hey, you had a really solid game. We're going to reward you for that. Now keep doing the things we're asking you to do. That being said, no, I don't think he's going to. He doesn't really seem like he hasn't been a coach who makes a bunch of changes to the lineups while they're winning. They seem to have a process that's working here. And I also think while you're shorthanded at the moment, it makes sense to have someone who can come off of your bench and provide some scoring pop. DJ can score, but it's not like it was when you had Malik Thomas coming off the bench or when you also had Billy coming off the bench when Carter was in there and everything. So I kind of anticipate that they're going to keep things status quo there, but I'm team Ewan starting if that's what they wanted to do.
Also, Washburn Idol says this will be Leaks 30 game. That's what he's calling for. So
I like, oh gosh, I like the way that sounds. I really like the way that sounds. He's going to get a lot of looks, man. That Texas A&M, they're going to be trapping and sending doubles and everything like that. So if you're first of all, they do it a lot with AG, the big, like they'll put him at the top of the press and he'll trap. So you'll have a size advantage or a numbers advantage with your fives. So Pringle's got to be, catch the ball and dunk it, man. But, Malik Ewan could be a guy who has a big game too. But if you're sending doubles and everything, Malik Thomas is so good at relocating to where he should be able to find open spots and get a ton of open looks on these dudes if they're not turning the ball over.
it's weird because Arkansas lost a game against Alabama where Malik Thomas really popped off, but I feel almost like he's like an ace of spades where if he gets hot, it's just a variable that nobody can really do anything about, on either side, where it's just like if he hits 7 threes, he hits 7 threes, and that can happen, and it has nothing to do with what you do as a team defending him. I like having a guy like that, and I would love to see him have a game. I mean, he's had multiple games that were where he popped off, but have a game like that where he scores 30 and he kind of shows teams, hey, this is a variable you have to account for going into these games. You better treat me accordingly.
Yeah, what's his which game does he have the most points in so far this year? Off the top of your head?
He had 29 on somebody, didn't he?
Okay, I see it right here. He had 28 on James Madison.
28. Okay.
He didn't miss a shot, right?
Yeah, he went 8 of 14, 6 of 10 from 3, 6 of 7 from the free throw line.
What SEC game was it? Vanderbilt that he was like 5 of 5 from 3, or no? It was someone else. It was someone earlier than that.
Yeah, it was South Carolina. He was 8 of 9, 5 of 5 from 3, had 21 points. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's crazy too because like LSU, he's had 20 points. He's had some games, man. He's really had some games when he's flirting with it.
He is the reason why Arkansas is not like a 7 or 8 seed right now, because he popped off on Winthrop. That was right. His takeover game. Him and Nick Pringle, man, saved the Hogs from a devastating loss.
Man, it just really kind of puts things in perspective when you think about that. You would have had a loss to Winthrop on your resume if it wasn't for Nick Pringle.
Come a long way, boys.
Yeah, but the scuffle and what was it? The technical foul shots right there at the end, right? That made the difference.
The DJ Wagner ejection, the Isaiah Thiele ejection.
Just wild, man.
Sure.
This is wild. Let's see. Grant, appreciate the super chat. He goes, fun fact, my family's originally from San Diego. My dad moved from San Diego to Huntsville, Arkansas at the age of 17. Bolt up, go Padres, and woo pig suey. So,
interesting. Okay. You stick with the Chargers even though they left San Diego.
Looks like it.
I mean,
kind of better man than me. Yeah. I bailed on the Rams when they left St. Louis, but I don't mind the Padres.
I mean, great park over there, Petco Park. I mean, a top 7 park in the entire world.
Yeah.
It's got to be quite of a culture shock from going from San Diego to Huntsville, Arkansas. I'm just saying.
San Diego, as they call it.
Yes. Arkansas, appreciate you, man. Super chat goes, most intentional hot moment of all time, talking about Mark Pope.
Truth.
Is that really the worst part about this? Like, we've talked about this ad nauseum. We don't need to go into it, but it's because everyone can see it and see for what it is, which is like an inauthentic attempt to kind of, it wasn't like a genuine moment. I think that's the most egregious part of it all.
He's not a very good actor. Yeah. He didn't sell anybody on the fact that it came across as real. I know people do it all the time, but let's see. Hey, Derek Garduno, appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. He says, yes, I can believe Pope and the fine. Good. That's all he says. So, yeah. He's been on that, man. He's been talking about the fines and the way it's happening. Paddlefish says, Ellis, who's the next Gabe Gackle?
Who's the next Gabe Gackle? I'm trying to think of what that means. I mean, Cole Gibler is probably the answer to this question because he is in the Gabe Gackle role of last year, at least what Gackle finished the year as kind of that long-term, hybrid closer / starter who could come into a game in the 6th inning, could come into the game in the 9th inning. I think Gibler is kind of in that role there in his sophomore year, and I think going into next year, we will probably be viewing Cole Gibler maybe not on the same level of like, oh, he's going to be a first-round pick, but I think Gibler by the end of this year will have earned our trust even more so than he already has, and going into next year, he's probably a good bet to be a Friday, Saturday guy.
Geez, let the guy finish his career at Arkansas before you start asking who's the next one. It's like, geez. Like, it's how it is, though. Battlefish also says, would Musk take the UK job, and if so, would he thrive? I know you'll answer too, Chris. I think he would not thrive. I think it'd be a disaster, personally.
Probably so. Would he take it? Absolutely. Would they offer it to him? Ain't no way. Not now. Maybe at the peak of his powers at Arkansas, if Cal left, that would have been something that he might have been on a list for. But he's over there just kind of toiling away at USC right now, so they wouldn't even offer it to him. But make no mistake, he would take it. I mean, he wanted the Texas job. He wanted a lot of jobs out there. Kentucky would be included on that list for sure. But I don't think that would go Great.
Dude, just imagine the first time that Muss has a big win and takes his shirt off. Those blue hair, they will get so mad. In fact, they would probably want the SEC to fine Muss for taking his shirt off in celebration if they won a big game. Like, yeah, I just don't see it being an effective.
Can I bring, let me bring something up before we get into another chat. I'm surprised at the number of people I'm seeing on my Twitter, Razorback fans, who are like applauding Mark Pope for taking a stand against officiating. Wish Cal would do that. Good on him for calling it out. Did you listen to what he said and how he went about it? I guess would be my question. First of all, John Calipari is not, he's above that. He's not going to do that. He made his little remarks the way that he did after that Alabama game where he was talking about Arkansas winning all the stat categories except for one, and just kind of leaving people to connect their own dots there. But so many folks, I mean, it's got to be like a dozen comments that I've had in the last hour and a half here of people just being like, good for Mark Pope calling it out. Go listen to what he said and then tell me how great you feel about that. Like what you feel like that accomplished, because I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like, I don't know if he actually called him out because he's just yelling about like, I'm not going to say anything. And then he's like, as much as it is bad and things may be terrible and people are trying to screw us, I'm not going to say anything. And then he goes out and he says something. So it's like, I don't know. Like it goes back to the whole point. I have no idea what he was doing. I have no idea what the intention was. I just know it was dumb.
Could you imagine John Calipari walking off of that podium and being like, Hunter, no, they better not find me, Hunter. They cheated. No way, bro. It's just not a thing.
Dude, I would love to see that though. Like I don't want it to, and it would never happen, but I would like low-key love to see how that would go and how that interaction would be with like what would Hunter Yurchek even be like? What, Cal? Yeah, maybe you should do that. It's like, why are you talking? Why are you yelling at me? It's like, it's just, that'd be a great interaction. Yeah. I think Cal and Hunter Yurchek is them talking in general is just a funny interaction to me.
It is.
It is. Let's see. Washburn Idol, appreciate Super Chat as well. He says, like to see the bottom part of the lineup get going tonight.
Yeah. Although, it's today, really, which, by the way, 3 p.m., we're going to be live on the Bombastic Podcast. Come watch the game with us. Just hang out. But, yeah, this week, really the rest of this homestand is stat pad, get some guys going, get the confidence up, get some of these, especially Arkansas. Apparently, Arkansas State's good, but midweek games are times to kind of get your groove. And then, see if you can carry it into the weekend. But 5 games at home. These guys like hitting a bomb. Definitely got to get some guys going.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see Peyton Lee again because that guy looks so good. Like, if he can just continue, I'm not saying he'll just throw him, hey, we'll make this guy our Saturday starter here soon, but it's like just knowing that you have a true freshman that can, just do what he's doing would be an awesome thing to see him for the rest of the year.
You want to talk about maybe the next Gabe Gackles? There's some guys in this freshman class that have a very strong case to that. Peyton Lee, one of them. Mark Brissy, although Mark Brissy, probably the next Gage Wood. So we're going with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a revolving door of the next pitcher of the previous regime, like just always that way.
Joey Lorenzini will be Hagen Smith. Yeah, it's just, we're just rolling through the playing the hits here.
yeah, perfect. All right, some other chats here too. Let's see. Kazran said John being late to hit the start button as usual in the bathroom. Okay, first off, we started at noon. Today. Yeah, I'm about to say we were noon on the dot, so fix your clock there, Kazran. All right. Let's see. Billy Richmond Enjoyer says Jordan Smith Jr. went crazy.
He did. Yeah, 37, 7, and 7. They were down. It was one of those situations where he rallied the team back. I think it was a double overtime game too, where he did that. That dude's built different. He's going to be a lot of fun. Completely different player than Darius Acuff, but in terms of like being a competitor and a winner and all that, he's going to bring a lot of those traits. He brings some Billy Richmond traits too, in terms of just being an absolute dog out there. Razorback fans are going to love him. If you have Jordan Smith Jr. and Billy Richmond on the same team, any questions we've ever had about toughness and competitiveness and, just being some MFers out there, as Mark Pope would like to say, Arkansas will have it covered. Those are 2 bad dudes.
Also, Justin Beasley says, I bet you don't miss Jonesboro, Curtis.
Well, hey, listen, man, I grew up in McCrory though. So when I got to go to Jonesboro, that was a treat. It was like the big city for me, but No, I mean, I don't think I'll be going back anytime soon. So,
Hey, listen, you're talking to the guy that on his birthday when he was a kid growing up thought the Olive Garden was the coolest place, but we didn't have one. So we had to go to the city of Joplin or Fort Smith, just depending on stuff, to go to the Olive Garden. So sometimes, man, you got to travel out, and put on your Sunday best and go to Joplin or Jonesboro or wherever.
Well, now you can rest easy, John, knowing that young kids in Fayetteville can just go to Mall Avenue and go to Olive Garden now.
Yeah, these kids
live in
these
luxury
days,
now.
That's right. Kids these days just don't understand how the struggles that we went through. Oh, great. It's Luke. Luke Gigum Rice says Arkansas has 7 5-stars and only has one more than A&M exposed.
well, first of all, Arkansas doesn't have 7. They don't even have 7 players in their rotation right now.
Yeah.
But no, they have 4, and then Carter's out. So that's not accurate information. We've been pretty complimentary of your team today, but I got to tell you, man, like you are the national champion of almost. Like if they hung banners for almost winning a game or almost being in 4th place in a league, you would have plenty of them, my guy. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So, Texas A&M comes up short tomorrow. You can come in here and do your victory laps for that if you want to, but I don't know, man. I guess it's just acceptable stuff over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of context missing here because obviously, I guess he's referring to SEC records because I guess Arkansas's 10-4, they're 9-5. You're misrepresenting because Arkansas is projected to be like a 4 or 5 seed, and you're maybe more in that like 8 to 10 seed range. And if you lose a few more games, maybe you'll even be playing in Dayton type of thing. So it's like if you're trying to make the point that like Arkansas and A&M are super close or whatever, it doesn't really add up when you look at all the metrics and everything. Also, you would probably have to wait. Like Arkansas and A&M are going to play Wednesday. Now, if you win the game, obviously, then you come in here, you could talk your crap and say, go Aggies. We showed you guys. That would make sense. I don't know why you'd be doing a victory lap over a conference record in the middle of conference play when the two teams are about to play on Wednesday night. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one there.
But not only that, but you mentioned a curse of like being almost like, no, that's the Texas A&M program. Like they almost have done a lot of things. They're almost as good as Texas. They're almost Cub Scouts. Like they're almost all these things, but it's just like you're not. So I think like it was women. I think that when Gary Blair, which still pains me to say, when he won his championship there with the women's basketball team, I think that was their first team national championship in like 70 or 80 years. So kind of just, I don't know where that's coming from, but I still like Texas A&M. Let's see. David says, Curtis, I know you said you don't like the idea of giving up on the Florida game to rest some guys. I agree with this. However, maybe you play DJ and Sealy max minutes for A&M.
What does max minutes mean? You know what I'm saying? Here's what I think Arkansas should do. Go win the game. Go out and win the game. Like everybody's tired at this stage of the season. I don't know. Are we just not used to being off the bubble? Like as Razorback fans, are we not used to being safely in the tournament to where all of a sudden we're punting the Florida game? We're going to play the 8th man, 40 minutes against Texas A&M. Let's boycott the SEC tournament. How about we just go win games? That seems like it would be fun to me. Like you've got an opportunity to shove Texas A&M in a locker, and because they're the threat right now to come and steal one of those double buys from you, you're still in position to where you are competing for a regular season title. You got work to do. You're still in that conversation, and then you go play number 1 in the conference this weekend. Everybody's like, well, they're probably not going to win anyway, so let's just not play Darius A. Cup. What? You're going to be on national TV. You're playing a top 10 team in the country. Go try to beat them. That's what competitors do. I don't understand where this is coming from. Go win games. If guys are hurt and they have to sit, okay, fine. But this is not load management time. If you want to do that, clinch whatever you're going to clinch, get wherever you're going to get. Take that thought process and use it for the Missouri game at the end of the year. If it doesn't mean anything, if you are where you are, sure, get Wagner in there, for 35 minutes. Get Sealy in there for a bunch, and then you get to rest leading up to postseason. But I am anti. We punt on the football field at Arkansas. We don't do it on the hardwood, man. I don't know where this is coming from.
I joked last night that I think fans view it like it's a health bar, and it's like your team's health is right here. And so if you just don't play a game, now it's growing. Oh, but when you play a game, now it shrinks back down to 20%, and then you got to grow it back up. And while there is certainly some truth to that, you definitely accumulate some, bumps and bruises along the way. I think the benefit of, resting a guy to get some of those bumps and bruises healthier is almost outweighed, and not even almost, it usually is outweighed by not playing the sport. Like, I don't know if that is necessarily going to, because it's all about preparing you for March, right? If I were to tell you that you were running a marathon in October, you would be spending every weekend between now and October running long distances, getting ready to do that, building that endurance, building that toughness, building that durability. You would not say, all right, well, I'm not going to run until October, and now I'll just turn it on and I'll be ready to run 24 miles. It's not really how this works. It works the same way with high-level basketball. You don't just wake up March 18th and say, all right, time to play the most important game of my entire life right now. No. You got to play. You got to be in the thick of things. And yeah, you're maybe not going to go balls to the wall and play your best player 57 minutes every game or whatever, but having him not play basketball and having any guys on your team not play. I mean, Carter Knox, does anybody think Carter Knox is going to have a huge role for Arkansas in March? No, because he hasn't been playing basketball, and he's not going to have any reps leading up to it. I think we have definitely skewed this in our brains to where we think that sitting out helps, and that's the Darren Peterson effect.
Well, I think it's fear that Razorback fans have. It's fear. They're scared to death that because some may already feel like they're going to lose or something's going to happen to make them lose early in the tournament, and they're scared to death that it's going to be because Darius Acuff, played through injury or was hurt or not 100%, and so they're just trying to prevent anything that they possibly can. It's a fear, and I disagree with it. I vehemently disagree with it, and anybody that feels that way, because I think I brought this up to you guys too. It's like this morning I was on a radio show and we talked about it. It's like it was a simple do whatever Darius Acuff is wanting to do, which Cal has even said, hey man, if you want to sit. Acuff said no. So then that's that. Drop it. Like Cal's not going to go in and be like, I don't care what you say, Darius. I know you want to play, but you're not. And now if he was having a serious injury, okay, but that's not how it handles. I want Darius because you don't know. If he was forced to sit when he doesn't want to, you don't know what that does for his mentality. You don't know what it does for his confidence. You don't know what it does for him getting out of the rhythm. This guy's playing at an tremendously high level. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ride until the cows come home. I'm going to keep on going. And now if he decides something, okay, but make it his decision. Don't feel like it's best for him. You don't know. Who knows Darius Acuff better than Darius Acuff? Nobody. So let the guy do what he wants to do. And I'm fine with that. But
you haven't done anything yet. You haven't secured anything yet. So we can't go into load management mode when you haven't done any of those things. If you lose this game against Texas A&M, if you go punting games right now and then you wind up a 6 seed or a 7 seed in the SEC tournament, that's one extra game you have to play. Everybody's talking about rest leading up to postseason play. Let's secure not having to play the first 2 days of the tournament. Then you get rest by doing that, as opposed to giving up on games in the middle of the regular season and having to play earlier. I'm not understanding the logic here.
Everyone's favorite segment of the year is back. Andrew yells at Ryan because he says taking games off is part of sports culture now. It's really not. I understand why you think that because guys sit out bowl games or whatever, but what happens when guys sit out bowl games? They get made fun of. We sit there and we point at it and we say, that's stupid. When Jaden Hazelwood opted out of Arkansas's bowl game, we shamed him. We never talk about Jaden Hazelwood again because we all view that as a bad thing. Darren Peterson is getting mocked by everybody nationally and getting mocked by us on this show because what he's doing is not normal. It's not cool. It's not the right way to go. And it's the same way in the NBA, who, Ryan says, oh, if you watch the NBA, they sit out games all the time. The league in the NBA is literally implementing rules as we speak to try and combat this issue because it's a huge issue and nobody agrees with it. It's only becomes part of the culture if you nerds accept it. And so if you nerds keep saying, yeah, let's just let Darius sit out whatever game he wants and let's just blah, 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 then it will become part of the culture and we'll all be softer and stupider for it.
Yeah. Again, it's crazy to think of something like this where I'm like, we're watching greatness and you guys want it to go away. You guys don't want to see this guy play in as many games as possible. Come on, man. Like, I want to see him play as much as possible. Because I know we got at minimum, hopefully many more, but at minimum, we got 6 games left of Darius Acuff here at Arkansas. 6. That's it. Like, I want to see as much as possible of this man, because when he moves on, I guarantee you, maybe not next year because you're pretty good, but like year after, I miss Darius Acuff, man. I miss watching him. You got to appreciate the greatness when you got it. All right, some other chats here too. Let's see. Daryl says Houston versus Kansas last night. All I did was watch their big men battle. That was crazy last night, man.
It was good that you were watching their big men battle, because you otherwise could have been watching their freshman guards miss a bunch of shots.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Man, that was I think I saw that it's the first time that Houston's lost 3 games in a row under Kelvin Sampson. And
yeah, man.
Yeah,
like, which is crazy. And then also the record of, was it on Monday games, Bill Self is like 40-0 on Monday games.
Monday home games. Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Easiest bet I ever made in my life last night was for Kansas at home in that spot. Yeah, and didn't Houston lose, was it like 4 Big 12 games combined their first 2 years in the league? And they just lost 3 in a row? Man, oh, man.
You mentioned freshman guards missing shots. Anybody see Michael Brown's stat line from yesterday? Bro went 6 for 25 in a college basketball game. I really don't think I've seen that much. You see that in the NBA every now and then where a star player, you rarely see someone miss 19 shots in a college basketball game.
Boy, JD Note flirted with it sometimes.
He did. You're right.
He flirted with it. I don't know.
What was his Gonzaga? Something for 29.
He had like an 8 for 30 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was
I'm
like,
gonna find it real quick.
But it was funny is because, and then maybe it got overlooked so much, is because he'd get to the free throw line a ton and he would make his free throws and it would really add in. But I just remember something of like every game is like that dude. I don't know if that dude ever he shot 20 to 30 shots a game and never made double-digit shots. Never made it.
JD Note against Gonzaga, 9 of 29, 2 of 12 from 3. He had 21 points, 6 assists, 5 turnovers, 2 blocks, and 3 steals. Just a classic JD Note performance.
Man, I still love the kid though. Still love it. Let's see some other chats here too. This comes from Andrew, says, will Billy and Knox come back since they'll be getting 2 more wings?
You'll probably get one of them back. It's all going to be relative though, right? I mean, because that is a thing under consideration. I don't know that Arkansas, I don't think they went into the season thinking, oh yeah, we're going to have Knox and Billy back next year. You can tell that from the way that they've recruited. That doesn't mean that they can't return them both, but you got to understand that it's also a two-way street here, because does Arkansas want them both back is part of the equation, but also that's what's best for them. You know, like Billy, we'll see about the draft and everything like that with the way that he's been playing here recently and catching a bunch of attention. If he's playing college basketball, it'll be at Arkansas next year. With Carter, after this year not going the way that he expected it to and having an injury, what do you do? Like you come back where, okay, your role maybe wasn't what you hoped it would be. The guy that plays alongside you has now emerged into a borderline star, and you got 2, 5-star level freshmen coming in at the same spot. It might make sense for him to move on. I'm not saying he's going to, but that's something that he's going to have to consider there. I think they wind up with one of the 2. I wouldn't rule anything out though.
So Austin says John is going to hate landing in San Diego. Flying into the airport is crazy. Thank you. Appreciate that, Austin.
San Fran is a little dicey. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I just assume everybody's is dicey. I mean, again, I'm reportedly flying out a week from tomorrow to Mexico. We'll see. But I'm sure that the Cabo airport, from what I understand, is probably pretty crazy to land into right now. See, Cats by 21 says it's called money, John. What was this? I didn't know what this was referenced to. Do you guys remember what this is?
Like Kentucky being able to, reel in big time coaches and everything like that. Like, who would want that job and everything? That money has gotten you Mark Pope and a $22 million 9 seed. But,
Yeah. I mean, if that's what you're going for, you got it. A few more here too. Diamond Dad's Baseball says, love the podcast. My son Brennan, new class of 27, is committed to play baseball at Arkansas. Nice. Can't wait to join the Razorback family. Go Hogs.
Love this. Yeah, Brennan. So this is a South Carolina family. We don't really have a ton of East Coast Razorbacks. Zach Root was from, I think, North Carolina last year. We've got a lot of West Coast Razorbacks in the baseball program, not a ton of East Coast. So I like getting some new flavor over there. Arkansas's 27 class for baseball has a chance to be literally number 1 in the country. We'll see where it all ends up. There's different outlets and the draft is going to happen. We'll see, but They usually go like 1 year where they take a smaller amount and it's like a pretty good class. Like this, the 2026 class, I think it's ranked like 16th and it's like only 12 or 15 kids. Next year, 2027, they've got like 25 commits. They're ramping up and they've got like 12 top 150 kids. Like they are really pushing their chips to the middle. They had a really good class in 2025. The 2023 class with Helfrich, Gackle, and all those guys, that was ranked number 1. So they're kind of continuing this trend with the 2027 class of kind of every other year having arguably the best class in the country. Excited to see what Brennan New looks like, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Ozzy says Curtis, which would have been worse, loss to Winthrop or actual loss to Hofstra?
Winthrop. That was at Bud Walton. You know, like the Hofstra one was that was a low point in the life of Eric Musselman and everybody who covered that team, I think. But you know, you could always play it always gets weird in North Little Rock type of card there. Losing that one to Winthrop in Bud would have been really bad.
Yeah, because I think go ahead. Sorry,
I was just gonna say, like I think Muss's last year and that team wound up not being good, but it was a major red flag when they lost that home game to UNC Greensboro.
Yeah,
because they'd always had, like one of those a year. It's almost like every year you have one of those where a mid-major really pushes you, but you just never thought it could happen. They always find a way to win, whatever. When they actually lost that one to Greensboro before they went out to the Bahamas, we were kind of like, something don't feel right with this team. And yes, that is the difference in Nick Pringle making a transition layup versus not, how we would have felt about this group. And it would have changed some mojo for sure. So good on them for getting it done. But I would say that the Winthrop loss would have been worse.
Yeah, because also wasn't it that this Arkansas had not had a marquee win on their schedule when they played Winthrop yet. At least that year they lost to Hofstra, they had won that Kansas City thing up there. Like they at least had some
they've
benefit.
done some things. Yeah.
So let's see. OZK says Hunter would be too busy hugging the opposing coach. Talking about that.
Can't get a word in with Cal because he's rubbing bellies with Dennis Gates.
Yeah, that was something, man.
That was funny.
WKRP Pig says used to be no true Hog fan would support Calipari.
WKRP has a really hard time understanding, I think, rivalry, people changing jobs, circumstances, all those things. There was a time where Calipari could do no wrong at Kentucky, and look at him now. You know what I mean? So I don't know why this is such a hard thing to grasp 2 years into it. Yeah, of course, Arkansas fans hated him. Now he's their coach. You rally around him. That's kind of how it works in this business and in life.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, I did see someone in the chat say the words "No true Hog fan would support Pope," which I was just gonna say no real person talks like that. Like that was never a sentence that I ever said in my life. John, you didn't like John Calipari, but would you ever utter the word? It's just not how normal people talk to each other.
We check
we all hated Cal, or some people hated Cal or whatever, but it's like we just don't actually nobody says stuff like no true Hog fan would support Pope. But even that,
no, that was text or whatever, but no, it wouldn't come out of my mouth.
What did John say here?
No, this is just from 15 years ago.
Weasel, which we've all kind of talked about.
Yeah, I threw shade at a lot of people because it was like I felt like that saved John Pelfrey's job. Nut to throw shade at him. See, 15 years ago, still had that energy about Houston Nutt. So, anyways, yeah, I just want to pull that up to show you. It's like that's the type of
about you, John, being like, hey, I'm a little worried that Pelfrey might keep his job. Honestly, you were on the right side of history on that.
I love how he put he put the weasel there in the. It's good word by Cats.
Just
when I think I'm done with Cats, he ropes me right back in. This is a great one.
Yeah. And finally, just to answer your question, Dakota says Cabo, or no, he asks first, he says, are you flying into Cabo from Dallas? Yes. And he says, Cabo is front if you come over the inshore. It gets a little bumpy from the wind from the west off the coast. Just breathe. I'm not going to
hell out of that thing.
I'm going to be and have my noise canceling headphones listening to happy music. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be tweaking on that stuff. So that's my exercises there, but we'll see.
Audio's gone. Audio's gone.
I think they're making fun of you. There's no way that's real.
Dude, come on now. Like, is it real?
Is it just John or is it everybody?
Yeah, we need people in the chat to clarify. Is John silent or are we silent? Or are all of us? Or are y'all just messing with us?
And if nobody answers, then we know it's none of us.
I'd say, well, I put up the graphic and they're saying that there's no audio when I put up the graphic. What in the world?
It's because it
Okay.
was from Facebook in 2011. That's what happens.
Guess so. Yeah. Well, Mark Zuckerberg is trying to hack into the systems. I don't know. But anyways, we can
We've
hear
got
each
at least
other.
one person now that says they can hear.
All
it.
right.
Yeah. Good grief. Yeah. Well, now I know. Never bring up a Facebook post ever again. Jeez, man.
All
Well,
right,
guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here today?
I'm just glad you can hear us again, and you can also hear us again, later today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. So keep doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping this kind of crap doesn't happen during my midweek watch along party. Now I'm a little bit nervous. I wasn't nervous before, but now I am nervous. But regardless, if you can hear me, be there at 3 p.m. We are going to be live watching some Arkansas baseball. Not literally because I can't put it on the screen, but we're going to watch it together at the same time and discuss. So be there at 3 p.m. I'm looking forward to it. Let's have a great day.
Yep, it's going to be a great one. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Appreciate all your super chats and appreciate all of your support. So be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page, as well as anywhere our podcasts are found for Inside Arkansas Live Pod at the Palace, the Bombastic Podcast, or Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast. We have it right here, and it's going to get busy. It's going to continue to get busy as we have Razorback football, basketball, and baseball going at the same time. So, so audio's back, I guess, now, so they can hear the outro. Just in time.
Who knows? Yeah.
Seth just sent me. He said bombastic live stream at 3 for those who can't hear.
Yes. Yeah, for the hearing impaired. But either way, we appreciate all of y'all. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to subscribe. I'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you on the Bombastic Watch Along here in about an hour and a half. See you then.